welcome back to Reflect and Rise. This is episode 6, the podcast where we talk about parenting, business, mental health, all those kinds of things. So you're here with Melzie.
Hey, and you're here with Damon. What's up, guys?
Okay, so I did a little poll on our Instagram. If you haven't followed yet, go have a follow. Have a follow?
Have a follow, have a geese, have a look, have a like, all the things.
And we kind of did a poll to see what everyone wanted to hear more about, and parenting was overwhelmingly the winner. So yeah, we're going to do a parenting episode, and I did another poll where we kind of discussed like different topics, whatever you wanted to hear about, and everyone seemed to want to talk about stay-at-home parent versus the working parent.
Which I think makes a lot of sense. I feel like there's a lot of people who watch our videos who are more likely to be parents than they are to be business owners. And I still feel like mental health is one of those challenging topics to not only talk about, but to understand and like listen to.
Yeah.
So it doesn't shock me that parenting is the next one. And it doesn't shock me at all that the stay-at-home parenting the stay-at-home parent versus the working parent was, the most chosen one. Tell you what, I'm pretty sure even if the video wasn't related to stay-at-home parents and working parents, it had somehow become part of the discussion anyway.
100% it would have somehow.
Usually it ends up being the case that somebody has to drag into the fact that some people are working from home and some people are working, 8 to 12 hours a day. And so I think while it was the chosen one, I think it was going to come up in one of our episodes eventually.
It would have had to. It would have had to. That's like in terms of parenting, mental health, that's one of the biggest things, where what your role is as a parent is and what factors go into it. So
I agree. Like not knowing your role in any sort of circumstance, even if like, for example, getting just a little off topic, getting like extra responsibilities at work can help like destabilize what you think you're supposed to do at work and your responsibilities. So I think the primary topic of all this is going to be communicating expectations as well. But I think we should really start with how parenting, the roles and responsibilities of parents from back in the day.
The olden days.
Like the Westerns for all you people out there. And how it's kind of changed to today. Not just the responsibilities, the expectations, how gender roles have changed. We could talk a little bit about economic factors and how different they are now to how they used to be back in the day. So strap in. This is going to be a bit of a big one. Usually we have a couple of topics for an episode picked out, but
you should see our notes.
Yeah, this is meaty. It's good.
It's good. It all links in though, so it's important to discuss.
So I guess should we start with traditional roles?
Okay, 100%. Start at the beginning, shall we?
Of time.
So day one.
God created the sun. And woman stayed home to look after the kids. That was Eve.
Yeah. It was
getting there already.
It was definitely the case back then. It was men go out and work, women stay home. The end. That was all there was to it.
Even prehistoric days, like before 1950s, men were the hunters and and they'd be out all day trying to get food for the family, village, clan, tribe, and women stayed home and picked berries and foraged and usually did that with
food.
And they usually did it with a kid strapped to them. So even though we're talking a couple of thousands probably longer than that. It's like, 2000, that's not it. So millions of years, right? The roles have been very clearly defined.
Very clearly.
Very, very clearly defined.
You did not step out of that bounds.
Yeah, you if you were a woman, you lived in the village, and or if you were a female cave woman, you lived in the cave and you never left the cave. But it was men who were always out doing the hard work, doing all the heavy lifting, and up until the late 1900s, early 2000s, everything shifted dramatically. I would say anyway. So even if we don't want to go so far back as to caveman days, just say
a couple generations ago.
Literally a couple generations
Probably
ago.
even only one generation ago.
And that's what I mean by how rapidly it's changed. Again, millions of years of human evolution, the roles were men go out, women stay home. And then within the last 3 generations, everything's flipped its head. the rules have been completely rewritten, and what was considered normal is now not normal. I think there's probably a better way for me to say that.
It's just become one of the options.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot more fluid. You know, both people can do both roles now. Maybe not the pregnancy portion of it. Like I don't think.
I think people would debate you with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If we're talking chromosomes, all right, X and Y. I'm pretty sure only we don't have the tech yet.
I'm on your side.
But that's what I mean. I'm pretty sure, besides the pregnancy aspect of it, the roles are almost interchangeable now.
Yeah.
And they've probably been interchangeable for a long, long, long time. It's just society's willingness to go and say, hey, let's do something different.
Yeah.
And I think the 1950s is kind of the go-to when you think about traditional parenting roles. You know, in the 1950s, the dad would go out, do his day of work, he'd come home, kick his feet up, have a beer, watch TV, and probably fall asleep on the couch after dinner. Yeah. While the woman would stay at home, she'd do all the parental responsibilities around the house, like the cooking and the cleaning. She'd look after the kids and do any school drop-offs and anything like that. And then when the man came home, she'd do his dinner, make sure his laundry was done, and so forth.
When I think back to like the traditional roles, I think man's going to work in the mills, and the woman's at home with an apron, got her vacuum, got her duster, watching TV. Like even those ads where it'll be like, do you need help cleaning the house? This is for you, kind of thing. So yeah, that's definitely what it was back then. And I think, and I'm not bashing on it, I think at that point in time it probably worked. Like you literally could survive off one income in that time. And obviously all of these roles need to get done somehow. Yeah. They can't just forget one of them. And so I think, it's what worked then. Yeah. It's what was socially and economically accepted then. Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're going to talk about what was socially and economically accepted now, like back then it was, you know, you could live off one income. You didn't need to worry about, you know, who would be able to stay home and look after the kids or how we were going to pay for daycare. It was a lot easier back then. Yeah. And I say that being somebody who has never lived through the period and never had to experience it.
So just take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, again, because we weren't there. So, but it seems to have been easier then, you know. I think a lot of people nowadays would dream to be a single income household. Even, you know, myself, I'd love to be a stay-at-home parent. Just putting it out there really quickly. I'm not tied into my job that I need to be there working on my career and building relationships. I'm like, no. Right now, I'm at that stage where I think my son is the coolest person in the world, and all I want to do is see him develop. And it doesn't help that, you know, when we do things like childcare is a big bugbear for me at the moment. It's the ratio, I think, in Queensland. I don't know if this is a national standard. I'm uneducated. Sue me. I think the educator ratio for babies to educators is 5 newborn babies to 1 educator. Yep. And that crushes me. Every time I drop Dante off to daycare and I see that there's, you know, 3 people in this room, 3 staff members in this room, and all three of them have a baby that they're trying to calm down. And there's another 3 or 4 babies that are also upset, waiting for their turn to be calmed down. Breaks my heart. All I want to do is just be like, you know what? It's cool. I'm going to take the day off. I'm going to just stay home with this guy, give him all the cuddles, make sure he gets all the love, and we do all the fun things. Yes. It's tricky. Like, part of me wishes we were back in the olden days. Not necessarily to be in the exact same position as they were in the olden days, but just so that I could be... The simplicity of it. It was just so clear, so well defined. It was just, you do this, I do this. This is the roles and this is the responsibilities. Now, I will just start by saying, even though I wasn't around back then, it was heavily in the man's favor that lifestyle. But I would be content being the person who stayed home, did all the cooking and cleaning. Like if we could go back to the 50s, but the roles were reversed, I'd be all for it.
Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't be fighting for rights.
yeah, like I don't even need to vote, bro. Leave me. I'm like, literally, I'll do all the cooking, I'll do the cleaning, I'll do all the baby stuff. Leave it with me.
Yeah.
Nights probably would still need a bit of help, but hey, if we're going back to the 1950s, I don't think I really have any right to choose what I do. So
Absolutely not. Just go in the kitchen and speak when spoken to. Sorry, that was such a generalization. I'm not saying that was how it always was, but
I don't know. I liked
maybe.
it. I could live in the 50s. I liked it. I could live in the 50s. Sorry.
But yeah, I think that definitely leads into what you were just saying, the shift in like the gender expectations and the roles. I think it's becoming more and more accepted for men to be stay-at-home parents.
Yeah.
And why not kind of thing. And I think it's kind of weird because I feel like it happened so quickly. Like, I think there was the flash of feminism when women were like, girl boss, I can make my own money. And that took off.
And I'm not shaving my armpits anymore. Fuck you.
Yeah. That's a weird one. But yeah. And then it kind of, obviously, because they started being, more women were wanting to be money owners, then they started to outsource all of those things that would typically be a woman's role, like daycare, maids, chauffeurs, I don't know, kind of things, just kind of outsourcing. And then I think we got there. Now we're kind of back to the point where it's like, whatever you want, choose whichever works for your household, you can go do. Yeah. So obviously there's still people that live off of single income households. Lucky. I would love that.
Unless you're doing it tough and like single income is not by choice, then sorry, maybe not lucky. Didn't mean to throw that shade on you.
Yeah, but so I think there's people that do single income households, whether that's the men or the women. There's obviously people that are doing dual income, 2 incomes. I think there's just a lot more options, and it's because those whole gender expectations have shifted. So women don't have to be stay at home, and men don't have to be the primary earner. Yeah.
Even in the sense that you don't have to be a man and a woman to be a parent anymore. Yeah. You could be man and man, woman and woman, and then
you can be single parent.
Literally, and that's what I mean. It's just like the lines of what a parent is or should be are huge. Like it used to be so in the box. This is what a parent does. This is what their responsibilities are. But now it's just like
whatever you
want. And that's not even to consider. That's just the Western society and Western civilization, how we view parenthood. That changes everywhere else around the world. So like while we're seeing this massive shift of, women being the stay-at-home parent, now becoming primary income, the primary income of the household, or, the career person of the household, there are still cultures out there where they're just like, no, that's cool. We'll just do the whole single income. We'll have mum will stay home, look after the family, dad goes out to work. Because again, in their society or in their culture, that's what works. And I think that's kind of the arguments. I think that's where a lot of the arguments kind of stem from, is not having that clear expectation or have ever communicated whether or not I should be doing this and you should be doing this. So that's what we're talking about today.
And by the way, if you can, please have these conversations before you become parents.
Yeah, please. I think, that's probably a huge tip before you have kids.
Yeah, because obviously, not saying it doesn't work the other way, but say if you're someone that just always imagined you were going to be a stay-at-home mom, and then you get into a relationship and you have kids with someone that never thought that was the way it was going to be, probably going to have a lot of issues kind of thing. But just important to have these conversations before and during and all throughout, I think.
Yeah,
the expectations.
Because while things at the start, pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy, whatever, you have those conversations and you go, yeah, cool, this works for me. Does that work for you? Yeah, awesome. That doesn't mean that those expectations or those the assistance or the support doesn't need to change throughout. I don't know, you keep a kid for how many years? 18 in Australia? You keep them for 18 before you get rid of them?
Yeah, before you just throw them away and someone else's problem.
Yeah, it was for the streets. But it's literally how it's been. It's just
it's not always going to be the same exact expectations. And I think, because even with kids themselves, at different stages of their life, they're going to need a different level of support.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's always going to be changing.
Yeah. So to consider the fact that depending on your culture, your needs and requirements are different.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on your family structure, your needs and requirements are different. And even just depending on how, like your kids' needs, your needs and everything are different.
And the big one, economic factors. Oh my gosh, can we jump into this?
Don't, I'm poor. I'm going to cry in video video.
The cost of living, I think 100% has affected what those traditional roles have now become.
Yeah.
Like, the cost of living has gone up, but wages have not gone up. So it's getting increasingly harder to survive off just one income, especially if you have like more than one kid. Like, even one kid is expensive enough. Like, I think about my parents. So my parents were quite traditional. So my dad worked and my mom raised us.
Yeah.
She raised 5 of us. And I'm like, I can barely support one. I'm like, think about 5 and I'm working as well. So I think that's something to be taken into consideration. Like, unless you're making big bucks, your traditional household might even change simply because of money. You know?
I actually say to Ari all the time whenever we're like trying to figure out who can do something, like if we can find, can you take time off to take baby to a doctor appointment, or can you take time off to do whatever, right? Every time that comes up, I always say to Ari, like, God damn it, why aren't we Kardashians? Just like, why do we have to work? Why don't we just not like funded like by our whole family, and we don't have to do anything, we just get to look after a kid? It's hard, you know what I mean? Like, without considering that, you know, most households, generalizing, most households have 2 to 3 incomes now. And that's just the private income. What's the word I'm trying to say?
I don't know.
It's like those are just the jobs that we're employed to do. That's not including, you know, people who go out and do cashies and stuff like that. For example, one of our boys is a landscaper, so he goes and does cashies on the weekend. Yeah. So it's like, and he's got that, and he's got like a different thing where he's trying to like collect like trading cards or like memorabilia, get them graded and resell them. It's like everyone's trying to find a new hustle or just another hustle, really. Yeah. I think I've got 4. You know what I mean? But it's all about just trying to diversify your income streams, because we're at a stage right now where we've kind of not really been more uncertain about the future, especially when you consider, like, for anyone who has any like aspirations of buying property, it's just gotten so hard, and it's getting harder and harder and harder. I would like to say every year, but I feel like it's every quarter, like somebody else gets like pushed out of the market, like a bracket just gets pushed out. I think I was saying that it used to take like 5 years to save for a deposit. Now it's taking 10 years to save for a deposit. Plus the fact that you have a 30-year loan on top of that. Like 40 years to own a single home is insane. Yeah. And when you consider the fact, like, so we live in Ipswich. Shout out Ipswich. They're predicting like property prices in Ipswich to hit over $1 million. In Ipswich, just like the Ipswich greater region, right? To hit over $1 million. $1
million homes in Ipswich?
$1 million homes in Ipswich within the next 10 years. So,
my goodness, if Ipswich homes are going to be $1 million, where do you find affordable homes?
You have to go out to the boonies. You're going to have to go out all the way to the sticks. Now, mind you, this could work because, you know, with remote work becoming a real option now, people don't have to live so close to the city or near public transport infrastructure so that they can get to work. A lot of people can remote work. Us, work at home parents.
Work at home.
And so I feel like even if things were to get worse, people to get pushed out, there's still some sort of solution. But we're in a stage now where we're being pushed out. Like things are increasing so dramatically. I'm pretty sure like we're seeing houses that we used to rent for $300 renting just under $600 now. Yeah. And that's crazy. That's literally crazy.
Double crazy.
Again, like you were saying earlier, wages haven't increased in the same line. Like did your income double in the last 24 months? No.
Absolutely not. The dream would be that.
Yeah, for sure. But we're literally watching everything run away from us faster than we can.
And that's also the biggest factor with how parenting dynamics are shifting.
Yeah.
Because like majority of people, I'm not saying everyone, majority of people cannot survive on having one stay-at-home parent and one working parent. It's just not viable.
And I think because of the cost of living, it's kind of shifted. How to say without starting a fight?
Start the fight.
It's kind of shifted the value, the perceived value, of the working parent. Now, no shade. I am the working parent. Sorry, my partner's also the working parent too. I forget that because she's the woman, she's also the working parent.
Oh yeah, you didn't realize?
Yeah, I've got that.
The women.
I've got the 1950s brain. I gotta take that
gosh.
out. Whoops. The value, the perceived value of the working parents change because when you have a single income household, or even in situations, some shitty situations, sorry guys, where both are working but one person earns less than the other person, the person who is the primary
breadwinner,
I fucking hate that term. Who wants to win bread?
Why is that a thing? That was the one thing they chose. They're like, winning equals bread. Yes.
The breadwinner. Like, I'm pretty sure if you go to a bakery as they shut down, you can win all the free bread because they get rid of it at the end of the day. You can have as much bread as you want. Now, when we have this cost of living crisis, all these things are starting to seem out of reach. Let's use the single income household as the first example, right? So the female goes to work and becomes like, is earning all the income, right? And the dad's at home looking after the kids, doing all the cleaning and everything like that. The person who goes out and makes all the money to pay the bills that are increasing, the food prices that are increasing, the fuel prices that are increasing, all of these things, their perceived value of how much they contribute to the household starts to get a little bit warped. Because while, again, this is the part that people don't seem to understand. A child is 50% the DNA of one parent and 50% the DNA of another parent. Therefore, the child is 50% responsibility of each parent. Simple, right? It's not calculus. It's just basic maths. Probably a little bit of biochemistry or whatever you want to get into.
Something like that.
Some dumb shit that I don't actually know the word to blame me. So the perceived value has, in line with inflation, inflated. You know what I mean? Like, they already felt important because it was important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that the person who goes out and makes money is any less important or more important than the person that stays home and does the parenting duties.
Yes.
But when everything goes up and your wages don't go up, you feel like you are more required than ever. Because if I stop, how are you going to get a job earning as much money as I can in such a short amount of period? OnlyFans. And we were
stripping.
Yeah. I was like, dude, OnlyFans, that's all I see on the news. So it's just like the idea that you are more important starts to sink in. And then when you start to have those conversations about what I do during my day is more than what you do during your day, you start to move away from being teammates to being opponents. You know what I mean? It starts to become tit for tat. It starts to become keeping score. It starts to become all of these different things when in reality, it's two people working on the same team to achieve the same goal.
And that's where I think the biggest contention, the biggest issue comes between the whole stay-at-home parent versus working parent is that perceived value of what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
And not just the perceived value of your own role, but then your perceived value of the opposition's role. Sorry, I don't want to say opposition because that makes it sound exactly that. But that's what I think it is. I think a lot of the time, and it's not all the time, a lot of the time you will over exaggerate your own value in the dynamic and under exaggerate the value of the other person. And that can be either way. Could be I'm a stay-at-home parent, and I'm like, well, you just go and work money and make money, and I
That's
do
what you
everything
do.
else.
Yeah.
And then the other way is like, oh, well, I do this and you get to stay home all day, kind of thing. So I think it's just, yeah, it's the perceived value of both roles.
Yeah.
And so me and Damon are in the very interesting position where we're both the working parent and the stay-at-home parent, because we both work from home.
Yeah.
And so our partners both work as well. So I'm not saying they do nothing. They both work as well, and we're very appreciative.
Yeah.
I work from home, and Sapphire stays home with me.
Yeah.
So she was in daycare previously, but we haven't found a good one that we now like. So
it's hard.
It's hard. So yeah, so she stays home with me. So I parent while working.
Yeah.
And my job's actually quite amazing for that. As well as it's not like she's like a hellraiser.
Yeah.
So she's quite good. Like if I have to do calls or anything, I just let her know, and she's pretty good.
How old's Sapphire this year?
She's turning 4.
Okay, 4.
But yeah, so that's even a different dynamic there. That's obviously come because, one, the economic climate, we need a bit more money. So I'm sure we could have worked it out that I could be a stay-at-home parent. But we both knew that we wanted more money for the things that we want to do, and obviously the goals that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, but how do I explain this in a way that doesn't sound super bad?
Before we continue, I did just want to mention that I feel like Sapphire's age would help too, because if she was like 1, for example, she probably need a little bit more like hands-on full-time care and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But being 4, she's probably a little bit easier to entertain herself now.
Yes.
That's
As long as we have different activities available, she's fine.
See, that's awesome.
But yeah, so how do I say it?
Say it
And
with
this
chest.
is not everyone's perception, and this is not even me, like this is not Jonah's perception of me, but I think there may have been like maybe a perception there, but not in a harsh way, where because I work from home, you just stay home all day. So what else are you gonna do? It's still a job. kind of thing. It's still a job.
Yeah.
It's still an 8-hour job kind of thing. So that's where I think that perceived value is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be if you're a worker or you're not. If you're at home, it's somehow this mystical place where you can relax forever. So
it's like, have you seen the memes where it's, again, sorry dads, dad will be like looking at the bench, it's clean, it's like, oh, what happened? It's like, oh, I put a bunch of like dirty laundry here, and like I come back a couple of hours later and it's all gone, and it's all clean and washed. Like, watch this. And he puts it on the bench again and he walks away. Magic.
Who is this magician that keeps my fridge stocked?
Yeah, literally. And that's, again, it's the underappreciated heroes at home, the what's the word? The thankless jobs, you know what I mean? That just get done because you can do it, but then it starts to kind of become like an expectation as well. And once it becomes an expectation, that's when I feel like appreciation sort of drops off.
Yes.
Generally drops off.
Yes.
So it's like, I guess that's probably one of the key things to consider as well, is that working parents and stay-at-home parents, while have different roles and different responsibilities, are still doing a job. You know what
and
I
they're
mean?
both equally important. Both jobs are important to just day-to-day life, everyday life. For
sure. That's what I mean. Like even if you weren't, I can't imagine why this would even be a dynamic. Oh yeah, sugar mamas. Maybe sugar daddies, that's right. Like say for in like some instance where the person, there's no kids involved and there's one person who stays at home while the other person works. That person still will do like household stuff.
Yeah.
And generally they'll do it because they live there too. It's their home. They just want to help out where they can. Someone else is doing, the financial aspect.
Yeah.
I'll lean in here where I can as well.
And this is where I think this is where the issues come from. I think the underappreciation of both importance of roles. Yeah. So this is not us saying, oh, you just go and work and make money. That's such an important role as well. Like you need money to survive. So thank you to all of you working parents out there. You're doing good work. But I think because you make the money, those thankless jobs will pass by you and you don't even notice them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, for example, and this is not me trying to call out Jonah, okay? It's just a thing that happened and we talked about it and then we're fine.
Yeah.
I think he just got so used to, because I'm at home, he got so used to, again, the magician that does everything, that he just forgot that that's a role that I fulfill for our household. So it's all those tasks that you don't even think about, like all your work clothes are always clean. If we run out of milk, I make sure that we go get milk. I make sure that the house is clean. You like coming home to a clean house, right?
Yeah.
Make sure there's gas, making even like little things, and this is more relationship than parents, but like, I make sure that, we have a birthday, so make sure we get the gift. Just all of those kinds of things that if the stay-at-home parent wasn't there, either you would have to fulfill or you would pay someone to fulfill them for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, and essentially that's what working as part of a team is.
Yeah.
We're both working together to achieve a common goal.
Yeah, and each role is important.
Yeah, so as soon as it starts to, I feel like touching on that, as soon as it starts to feel like they're the ops. I love that. Yeah, I love that. As soon as they start to feel like the opposition and, that it starts to become like score taking, that's when you kind of need to realize that you've stopped working as a team. And you need to remember that the relationship was here so that you could achieve common goals. Because it happens. It does happen. Like, we're not going to sit here and say that everybody in every relationship is always appreciated for everything that they do. I can imagine there's lots of times where people don't say they are thankful or appreciative that somebody goes to work and earns an income. Happens to everybody. It doesn't mean that person doesn't love you or they don't care about you or they don't want to have anything to do with you or they think that your job's not as important. If we're talking from the male perspective, really quickly, actually, you're a male. No, I'm just kidding. You can talk about men. No.
I can talk about this. I'm an expert.
From the male perspective, there's usually so much shit going on in our head. Not to say that it's useful shit or or productive shit. It could honestly be like, that's right, I forgot I needed to cut my fingernails later. I've got to do the dishes first, so I'll cut my fingernails after that. Random shit. Or, new episode's out. I need to go watch that new episode. I was going to say House, but I'm pretty sure House is done. They're all just new. I don't know. They're all just new episodes for me. I'm watching these shows from ages ago. So it's like, most of the time, the thoughts that we have are not malicious. Half of them aren't even really thoughts. It's kind of more like background noise, if anything.
Yeah.
And when we kind of get presented with did you not realize that I did the dishes, or you didn't say thank you for me going and cleaning the floors this morning? It's not that we didn't notice or didn't care or anything like that. There's a very good chance that we just got forgotten. We just got forgot. There's a very good chance that we just forgot. Very often, it actually happened today. Ari did the clean up downstairs because we have 3 animals. Fur gets around. So Ari wanted to do some vacuuming and mopping to make sure that when baby's crawling around, he's not getting any fur on him or rubbing it into his eyes.
Yeah.
And when I come back later into the day, I saw it was clean. It looked beautiful. And I said to myself, when I see Ari next, I'll make sure I say thank you for cleaning downstairs. Just because, I appreciate it. I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that. I love when somebody helps maintain our house, because it's not just my responsibility. It's not just her responsibility. It's our responsibility because we're a team.
Yeah.
And that's I call it we thinking.
Yeah.
Not French we, like you and me we. And
yeah, that's what they thought it was.
Yeah. No golden showers. No.
Oh goodness.
No Diddy. I don't know. Just like, what do you want from me? So I remember seeing her and being like, I'm gonna go say thank you to her next time I see her. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure I had to do something else for 5 minutes and I forgot about it. And it just slipped my mind. And I definitely believe my brain is very out of sight, out of mind. And when it's clean, there's no dirt and fluff. So technically it's out of sight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like I don't recognize that the house has been clean. It's just that I see it clean and my brain is just like, oh, it's clean. I need to be thankful for it. But I'm just like, fuck, I just need to remember to be thankful for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if somebody was to come and challenge me and be like, oh, you don't care that I do anything around the house, I'd be like, that's not the case at all. It's just, I honestly just forgot. Have you ever got your hair done or your brows done or anything and your partner has been like not said anything?
That was sexist. They just talking about beauty things.
No.
I'm kidding.
I'm not allowed. I don't know anything deeper. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't think you're a shoes girl. Are you a shoes?
No.
Nah, see what I mean?
Yeah.
You got makeup, your eyebrows are done nice and stuff. I'm like, I'm sure you do that. See, that's what I mean. But it's like, I'm sure that if Jonah didn't notice, he's not like, oh, I'm not going to say that I like her eyebrows because if I say yes, she's probably going to think that she wants to get her eyebrows done more often and that's going to
he's
see
not thinking that.
But that's where I think a lot of people go when they get to those feelings of not being appreciated. It's like, oh,
it's a personal attack.
Yeah, and it's just a spiral. It's just this like negative feedback loop that just gets worse and worse and worse until when you're ready to kind of like talk about it, you kind of just explode. Yeah. And this is something that I learned recently, to come from a place of curiosity rather than a place of judgment. That change.
Say it again.
Come from a place of curiosity, not a place of judgment.
Lovely.
It works. And I feel like wanting to know why somebody has or hasn't done something generally yields better results than saying, you didn't do this because of this, or I think that you did this. Judging and like not actually having any real answer as to why something happened, not investigating, not finding the real truth, just assuming your truth is the truth, basically. Yeah. So that's kind of what I would encourage people to live by after sharing it, because that is, in my opinion, amazing advice. Amazing advice, because I think that's something that everybody can do. It's not like you need to be a mental health expert or somebody who has some sort of emotional intelligence. It's just everyday shit. Yeah. I'm sure that most people watching have a younger sibling, an animal, anything, right? Where when they act up or do things wrong, they don't go, oh, this guy's broken, I'm gonna get a new one. Yeah. I don't know. But they will probably be like, huh, I wonder why they did that. Or I wonder why my cat decided to eat my sausage roll from the bench. You know, it's just like, he's probably hungry. If you come from a place of curiosity.
It's that whole, if you're growing a plant and it's not growing, you're going to be like, oh, crap, plant.
Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
be like, is it the soil? Is it not getting enough sun? Maybe I didn't water it enough. Like asking all of those questions rather than just, well, this is a fail. Yeah. I mean, you might do that. I think I've done that. I'm like, screw this.
Because I mean, like, people will troubleshoot, and that's all it is, really. It's just troubleshooting. Yeah. People will troubleshoot things like their phone, their cellular data dropping out, or their Wi-Fi not working, but they won't troubleshoot arguments or why things are not working in their relationship or their communication styles when it comes to delegating roles and stuff like that. And it's funny because it's an everyday skill set, a skill set that you can apply to almost every sort of situation and get yourself out of all sorts of troubles and nonsense. And like we say in every single episode, communication really is key to maintaining the balance. Even just being able to have like check-ins with your partner every week, every fortnight, just to see if there's things are going right, if there's anything that needs to change, is there anything that I could be doing better? Do you think that you might be able to help me with this? Learning each other's strengths and weaknesses, what they enjoy and don't enjoy about the routine. For example, I don't mind doing the cooking. Personally, find cooking to be kind of relaxing. And when I have a recipe to follow, I don't really have to do much thinking. I just have to follow the recipe, follow the steps, do all the things, right? It's very much just like turning my brain off.
Rudimentary tasks.
Yeah, just it'd be the equivalent to me riding a bike down the street. It's that kind of relaxing thing. So I don't mind doing that, but and this is where I'd like to say that our communication is a little bit. Our communication is still growing and we're still working on it. Just because, what do I want to say? How do I want to say this? I said earlier that a child is 50% responsibility by both parents. That doesn't necessarily mean that for every single task that involves baby, you need to be giving 50% effort. E.g., dinner.
Yeah.
You both don't need to be in the kitchen.
I'm gonna cook 50% of it. You cook the other 50.
I'll prep. You cook.
I'll spoon feed.
Yeah.
And then you mix.
You hold the bowl. Yeah. So that's like, to be clear, that's not what I'm trying to say. Oh my god, I said that real Habibi like. To be clear. To be clear. Yalla. To be clear, 50% does not mean 50% of every single task. 50% could mean that while I'm cooking, you get baby a bottle. Or while I'm doing the bath routine, you get baby's clothes ready for me. It doesn't have to be like parallel, like working through tasks. Generally speaking, if you do it that way, it's going to take you double the time to get the things done because you're going to have to communicate there as well to figure out how each other like the task done. I'm pretty sure that I've seen a lot of people complain about how one person folds towels versus the other person folds towels. And this is the second point I kind of wanted to make as well when it comes to communicating and like establishing those roles. Appreciate the attempt.
Yes,
the attempt,
100%.
The attempt is what matters, not the outcome.
Because if you think about it, attempts to fold the laundry thinking, oh, I'm going to do something nice. I'll do the laundry because I can see that Damon's doing other things.
Yeah.
And then you come and you like rag on me for how I do it. I'm never going to freaking fold towels again. Ever.
It's like, cool, I'm just doing this to be told I'm doing it the wrong way. I'm like, nah, not worry about it. But that's what I mean.
Remember, you love each other, guys.
Exactly. And that's it. Remember, you love each other. Remember, you're a team. Remember, you're working together to achieve the same goals.
Yeah.
Who cares if they didn't fold it in thirds and make sure the curved bit was facing out when they put it in? The task was fold the towels. Are the towels folded? Rate it as much as you want, but make sure you still appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, if you just shit on me for how I fold my clothes or for doing this thing that I'm trying to help you with, I just won't do it. You know what I mean? Like and that's not to say that if somebody does something a way that you don't like.
Like, rather than folding the clothes, just throws them in the closet. Like,
that's
different. But the clothes are put away.
They're away, out of sight, out of mind. That doesn't mean that you can't have a conversation with them and be like, hey, I appreciate that you wanted to do this task, and I'm thankful that you helped me with it. Can I show you how I like it done? So that when you do it next time, it can be done one way, the same way. Yeah. That doesn't mean you can't have that conversation. It doesn't mean also that conversation is going to be well received. It's
you just gotta accept every action has a consequence, whether good or bad.
The other thing to consider as well is people are raised in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, like for example,
sauce in the cupboard or the fridge.
Oh Lord.
We're not gonna start that one, but.
Just read the text on the back of the bottle that says put it in the refrigerator. To kind of go back to what we're talking about with communication, working parent, stay-at-home parent, working at home parent and everything like that. 50-50, the first 8 hours, you're doing your job, I'm doing my job, right? In the instance where we have a stay-at-home parent and a working parent, right? The other 16 hours of the day is not just it's not just the stay-at-home parent's job. It's also not the working parent's job to now take over
everything.
So that the stay-at-home parent can have a break. Again, both people have been doing their responsibilities to
100% of their ability.
Because I think that's what people need to kind of take away from this is beyond the fact that it's a job because you go out to work and you get paid for it, and if we were to send our kid to daycare, we would pay for it. It's a
store job.
Yeah, I want to say it a different way. It's a profession. Sorry, it's a profession. Your job's a profession. If I was to stay at home, I could have another kid here and I'd technically be a nanny. You know what I mean? It's a profession. You know what I mean? It's an actual job. But before it being a job, they're your kid. They're your responsibility before everything else. So to hear somebody say like, oh, you know, being a stay-at-home parent is a job, working from home and looking after a parent is a job, no one's discrediting that. But first and foremost, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
That should be the most important thing. So if you put that as your main perspective, when you both finish your first 8-hour part of your day,
yeah,
because that's what it is. It's your 8-hour shift of 3 for both of you. And so once that start of that 16 hours comes in, the end of your job, the first 8, that's 50-50.
Yeah.
It should both be you. Now, the 1950s was good to the men. Let's not lie.
Yeah.
It was good. You finished your 8 hours.
You literally didn't have to do nothing.
Yeah. Finish your 8 hours.
Pay.
Chill.
Cool.
I bring her, like, the reason
Money.
we eat is because I went out today. You're welcome. That was the way of things back in the day. But things change. Everything's changed. I think you will find that most parents today, when I say parents, I mean like parents of the newest generation, because again, not discrediting anyone that's already a parent or has been a parent for 30 years. Love you, Mom.
Okay.
You'll find that parents in this generation, admittedly not all of them, but a lot of them have completely changed from what society would expect in the 1950s.
Yeah.
A lot of men are staying at home or part-time working. A lot of women are working full-time professionals in their career. People on dual incomes, people on 3-4 incomes, everything's different. So when we have all these different structures and all these different things, roles are going to overlap. Everyone's going to have responsibilities that are going to kind of like go, this is my responsibility as well as your responsibility. But communicating like your strengths and weaknesses, what the other person enjoys or doesn't enjoy, and setting up those expectations is what is going to make your relationship and your parenting journey more successful than most.
And I think just jumping on the back end of that as well is all of these, you just need to think about this. All of these roles have to get done. How are we divvying it up?
Yeah.
The end.
Literally.
And it doesn't have to be like, because even if you were both full-time workers and outsourced during those 8 hours, you don't come home and then, it's your job to do everything else now. It's just all these roles need to get done.
Yeah.
Figure out, like, say example for you, you like to cook, so
yeah, I'll do the cooking.
That's fine for you.
Yeah.
If she does X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just one of the big things. I think a lot of working parents, a lot of that are primarily working parents, they forget all the other roles that are involved.
Yeah.
And so maybe just having that kind of conversation of like, this is what I have to get done during the day. This is what needs to get done for the household. This is what needs to be done for our kids.
Yep.
How can we divvy this up?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like the whole strengths and weaknesses thing. And so I think that's number one, is actually communicating all of the tasks that actually need to be done. Because I think, like you said, out of sight, out of mind, I think a lot of people just tend to forget. If it's been done for you for so long, you just forget that those tasks exist. So I think that's number one. 2, appreciation.
Sorry.
Appreciation, a simple please, thank you goes a long way.
Yeah. It really does though.
Yeah.
The other thing I think as well is to be realistic of the tasks and how long tasks can take to complete. Now this is something that I kind of feel a little bit personally about, because I've been in the full-time away, like not having to do anything with our son because I've been away at work. And I've also been on the side of full-time, everything to do with son, nothing to do with anything else because, you know, he was sick. So he really needed me.
Yeah.
So I've been on
both sides
of the fence. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I've spent ages doing both or anything like that. I'm definitely the working side of everything. I'm not generally the person who spends all their time at home with baby.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people who say stuff about like, I couldn't get things done around the house because baby only had 1 nap or 2 naps today. And, you know, even once the expectation or, you know, the roles have kind of been like explained and set and everything like that, it doesn't mean that things can't happen in a day that throw out the entire balance of the day. You know what I mean? Like, yes, baby may have been more upset than usual. It was like just Velcro baby, you know what I mean? Didn't want to be put down, didn't want to like be off your hip basically. And that's life. You know what I mean? Like you can't do anything about that, especially when they're younger. You know what I mean? They don't know any better, or like if they're upset or sick, they just want to be loved. You know what I mean? Curious. You know what I mean? Don't be judgmental. Like he just wants love. But at the same time, in those opposite days when everything is fine and those things are still not met, that's when it can start to be a bit contentious.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, all right, I was still able to do what I needed to do today to for our common goals and stuff like that. Can you explain to me, or like
what happened?
Explain to me like how these things weren't done.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of couples with communication need to get to.
Yeah.
And I heard this one day. What was it? I feel like it may have been in therapy actually. It's you and the person against the problem, not you versus the person.
Yeah.
So the issue at hand is not he doesn't do this. The issue at hand is I'm feeling overworked.
Yeah.
Or the issue is I'm feeling underappreciated.
Yeah.
How can we fix this? It's not you never do this. They're not your op. You love them. You love each other.
Yeah.
So that conversation is important. So even for the working parent, if the working parent comes home and multiple times and things are not done, having that safety in communicating, can you just explain to me what's the issue here? Or is there something else that you need from me so that these can get done? Don't go home and be like, this house is messy. What the hell have you been doing all day?
Yeah, oh my God.
Don't do that. It's not going to yield any good results.
That's damaging.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very damaging.
But yeah, I think it's just having those conversations, because it could be one thing one day and then a different thing a different day.
Yeah.
But to them, it's just both days didn't get done.
Yeah.
And if you just explain like, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's understanding to that. But
Other thing too is, this is where I really enjoyed the stay-at-home portion of it, is you don't have to wait for baby to be asleep to do things.
Yeah.
Baby can just do things with you.
Also, at this age with Sapphire, she just wants to do anything with me. I could be just washing dishes and she's like, can I help?
Yeah.
And then there you go.
Yeah, legit. Like now, instead of having 2 people working for like your common goals in the relationship, you have 3 people.
Yeah.
Split those tasks between 3 people. Seriously, if Sapphire, like I can't wait for Dante to be at Sapphire's age when he can start helping and stuff like that. You can get him a little stool. He can help me cut the dishes.
Cut the dishes?
Dishes.
Goodness me.
But he can help me with like getting dinner ready or helping make his breakfast and stuff like that. Like, again, a child is only a young person. You know what I mean? Once they're old enough to start doing things, they're essentially little minions who just want to help out with everything.
Because they just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you're doing. Sapphire enjoys doing that kind of stuff more than like any of the childhood tasks I give her.
Yeah.
Like, or not tasks, like activities. She's like, I just want to do whatever you're doing.
Yeah. So delegate, you know what I mean? It's like, and at that same time, you're having proper like one-on-one time because you're doing something together. Yeah. Like parallel play essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're building that relationship because you're not just kind of entertaining them. You're doing things together and you're showing them the value of, working towards common goals and looking after and showing pride in the place that you live. And I feel like a lot of us get that as kids. Yeah. And then we turn into rat bags. Yeah. And we go and move out on our own and we're like, yes, no rules. Yeah. And then when we get a little bit older and we're forced to kind of like cohabitate, we're like, oh, I don't remember how to be considerate of other people or
how do I do this?
Yeah.
It's not just my world anymore.
Exactly. And it's just about being able to remember that. I think we've said it 5 times in this episode. You love each other.
You love each other.
There's the whole reason you guys are here. You
want this to work.
Exactly. So it's like keeping that at the forefront of your mind, and remembering that all circumstances, situations, dilemmas, problems, the whole shebang can be solved with communication.
And in summary, what do you think are the main points we try to say? 1, you love each other. Remember that. That's like the most important. 2, show appreciation on both sides. Stay-at-home parents definitely show appreciation for the fact that they're going out and working.
Be curious, not judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one.
4, it's you and them versus the problem, not you versus them.
Yeah.
5, just communicating your roles and responsibilities. And it doesn't have to be set in stone. You can change it up all the time. You can change it up. Probably don't do it daily. That's been much.
A weekly check-in goes a long way, I feel.
I think so.
I think the thing that needs to happen though with weekly check-ins is you have to be honest when you communicate. You can't sit here and have your check-in and be like, yeah, no, everything's fine, when you have a dilemma or an issue with something that's happening. Confrontation is hard and scary, which is why it's called confrontation. Just have to be brave and communicate.
The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah, honestly. Jinx.
But seriously, you love each other. Yeah. You want to make it work, so make it work in whatever way it is.
And especially considering there's a baby or a child on the other end of this whole thing as well, be the example that you want your kids to be, to grow up to be. You know, if you had issues with any part of your life, be the exact opposite of that and show them how to do that. Also,
because we've been giving a lot of advice in terms of like the stay-at-home parent asking for more help. If you're a working parent and you feel like maybe I just need a bit more help financially, that you can communicate that as well. It's not just, oh, well, I need your help, more help around the house. Like, you can ask for help that way.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
If you feel like I just don't think that just my income is going to help us reach our goals, if there's some sort of part-time work, side hustle, something, communicate that as well.
Because that's what I mean. Like, we literally live in an age where the types of work you can do remotely, on site, anywhere, are so vast now.
Yeah.
So the only thing that is a limitation is your ability to communicate.
Yeah.
The more you communicate, the better you communicate, the better your life will be. I reckon.
You're not ops.
Yeah.
You're not ops. Same team.
Oh God, I love that. I'm gonna have to start doing that in like my mental health, like not my mental health, sorry, my mental check-ins. It's like when I'm frustrated, like we're not ops. We're not ops.
That's honestly like any type of issue that me and Jonah have ever come across. That's the kind of thing I think. I'm just like, I want to make this work. So
this is how we're gonna do it.
This is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Don't let resentments take you away from that main goal, which is you want to make this work. You want to make this partnership. You want to make this parenting situation work.
Yeah, and again, like we say every episode, we're not the experts. Every situation is different. If
you don't know your household.
Yeah, so if you do want specific advice, definitely talk to the professionals. Couples counseling goes a long way to help people communicate.
We have both done couples counseling.
A lot of people think couples counseling is something you go to do when the relationship is at the end of the relationship, when you know you're worried that it's not savable or anything like that. It is better to go couples counseling to be proactive than to be reactive.
Doesn't have to be just a preventative measure.
Yeah, for sure. So that's another stigma. Don't worry about the idea of going to couples counseling. You can do all that sort of stuff. It's just basically a third party to help you learn to better communicate. So don't stress. Experts are here, and that's why they're there.
Or if you can't afford experts, you can watch The Reflect and Rise. Or you can talk honestly, you can talk to us about it. Like we have a lot of experience just personally. We have a lot of experience that we've gotten from professionals, because I do know that counseling can sometimes be expensive. So.
Yeah. And anything you do send us is going to be completely anonymous.
100%.
I'm not going to go out to anyone else, unless, of course, you think that you would like this story to be shared with somebody, then we'd be happy to share it. But yeah, no obligation to share any details or anything like that. We're here to help, and we love helping, which is why we set up this podcast anyway.
Yeah, we want to help. We want to start the conversation, and we want not just start the conversation, but talk about problems that a lot of people probably relate to, but just don't talk about.
Yeah, exactly right. So drop us a comment, send us a message. If there's anything that we can do to help, we will. So don't feel shy, send it on through.
Yeah, that's all we have really today to talk about in terms of the working parent versus stay-at-home parent. Today. We could probably go for hours about this, but that's for today. Now, community spotlight.
Yes.
I want to shout out Cake Dip. I will put their Instagram and stuff on. She specializes in making baked goods all from home. I actually used her, I don't like to say that. I bought cupcakes from her for Mother's Day, and I'll just show a photo. They look really good. Go follow her. She does cakes, she does cupcakes. You can inquire about any other things. But yeah, it's just a little baking business that I actually loved. So yeah,
yes,
it tasted delicious.
I love cakes. Yeah, I love cakes. We should get cakes for the next episode.
So yeah, go have a look if you've got any kind of like events or birthdays, celebrations, anything.
Awesome.
Use her.
Also, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to Reflect and Rise. I hope you had a good time and you learned something new today. Peace out.
Bye.